Okay, it is 7:01. We will take the roll call.
Mrs. Baum. Here. Mr. Glenn Fry. Here. Mr. Paul Fry.
Is excused.
Thank you. Mr. Guerrero.
Here.
Dr. Geralman.
He is excused.
Mrs. Long. Here. Miss Ellis. Here. Haley Kim. Here. Cassidy Fletcher. Here. Thank you.
With 5 members present, we do have a quorum. Emergency exits are both at the back of the room and at the front of the room. You can join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, on the agenda check, I don't have any known issues on the agenda, but does anybody have any items that need discussion as far as where they're placed? Yeah, good.
On the consent agenda.
You're right. Just gotta get close enough.
On the consent agenda, that I was going to ask if it could be
Pull that out.
pulled out.
Item number?
Item number 241, one fourth, the anonymous donation. I have some questions about that.
Okay. You can ask questions whether it's in there or not, but if you want to break it out separately, that's certainly fine. Okay.
Depending on your questions, might affect how.
All right. Okay, so let's take that one out separately. 241-14 will get pulled out and put under items for board action. Okay. Any other items? Okay, if not, we will have our reports from both of our student representatives tonight, and welcome to both of you.
Okay, well, I mean, there's not much going on right now because we're in transitions between seasons, fall and winter. But let's see, cross country went to sectionals last Saturday. The girls finished fifth, and the boys finished third. And Abby Google is making it to states, and I think she goes this weekend.
Saturday.
Yes.
Yep.
So good for her,
Yes,
being a freshman, sophomore. Yeah. Marching band, we finished 5th out of 7th in the dome, so our season's done with.
Nice job.
Sad. And
Great picture of you in the paper.
they pronounced my name wrong when they announced us, so that's why I made that face at the band, because we always make that joke of how they're going to pronounce my name. And they said it wrong. Next Friday, November 15th, the National Honor Society is hosting a movie night in the auditorium, and it's for all ages, elementary school through their parents, whatever. And the cost is 3 items of food, and it's a fundraiser for the food pantry. And there's 2 movies, and it's from
6 to 9, 6 to 10.
Yeah.
I think.
So we did this last year, and it was a good fundraiser for the food pantry. And,
Or is it a secret?
It's Monsters University is playing first, and then we're doing Iron Man 3.
so hopefully, younger kids early on, and then the older kids later.
I think that's it.
Yep. That's
How
all.
about the fall play that's coming up?
Oh yeah, that's right. The fall play, November 22nd and 23rd, and it's the Mark Twain one. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's supposed to be really funny, and Nick Lutz plays both a male and a female in it, so it should be pretty interesting. Alright, I think that's it.
Thanks.
Okay.
All right, next up we have the Board of Education calendar of events, and there was at least one change. The health and wellness meeting that was going to originally be tonight is going to be now Tuesday, November 12th. Is that right? Did I say that
Yes.
right? Okay. So that'll be November 12th, and still at 5:30, and it's at the library. Is that correct? All right. Last question I had was really for you, Lisa. On November 25th, the budget committee was scheduled to meet. That's a Monday.
It's a Monday, yes.
Because of Thanksgiving being Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that break, so I think you, I don't know if you had a one-day conflict, I can't remember.
I do, but if that's the only day, if we can't switch it to Tuesday, I will make arrangements and I'll be there on Monday. So Pat and I and Jim can talk via email, but Monday is fine if that's the date, because that will be trouble.
Sure.
Thank you.
The changes, just let Bernadette know, she'll square it away.
Or Bernadette, thank you for all the changes, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, that brings us to Board of Education announcements, topics for discussion. Anybody has any items?
Well, I'd just like to, last week was Board Appreciation Week, and we didn't meet, so Janice and I brought some tokens of our appreciation for all the work that you do, the long hours and the low pay. And I'd just like you to know that it's vital to the operation of the school district, and we appreciate everything you guys do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Glenn, you have something?
I do. I'm pleased to announce that when it was announced last week in the newspaper that Commissioner John King was coming to town, that people could sign up, make application for a seat, and I was notified on Monday that the seat is available.
That's through the WCNY tomorrow night.
Where is it?
WCNY, right, the new studio. Yeah.
Go back and report.
Excellent.
Can't wait to
That's
see it.
great.
I'm gonna be watching the video on TV, actually.
I'll be down in Ithaca for a birthday, my boy's birthday, but I hope I was ready to sign up with you. That's excellent, that'll be great. And you're gonna get a chance to look at the new facility while you're there, right?
I hope.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
It's supposed to be pretty impressive. Yeah. The woman that runs the education center used to work for me over at South Census, so we can get special passes maybe to get in there sometimes. But that's excellent. That's great.
They said they had hundreds.
Oh yeah, they said it filled up in a hurry. Anybody else? All right, we'll move on then to our presentations. First up is the Great Kids presentation from Ellen. Are you projecting, Ellen, or
No,
not?
I'm not.
Okay.
Just my voice.
Good. She got rid of two.
Thanks to Bernadette, you got the full report on the grade kids.
Yep.
I just thought I'd give you a summary. Amrit, hi, how are you? Amrit, are you all set?
Thank you.
And we'll just go over a few points, and if you have any questions. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. How are you? Good? You're welcome.
Yeah, this is the one.
Yeah, there was a quite detailed report. that came
Yes,
out.
there is a detailed report. This is just a summary.
Yep.
I just some highlights of the report. And I just thought we would walk through it, and if you have any questions, we can take care of it at the end. So first of all, the participants, we had 2 elementary teachers, outstanding elementary teachers who are here this evening. Mike Ritchie and Carolyn Sherlock. We also had a teaching assistant, Christy McMahon, a social worker, a school nurse, administrator, and at that time we had Katie Regan, the administrative intern, who was involved in the program. The students, we invited 33 students to participate, and we had 24 students who began the program. One student discontinued, and another student, I was on the phone, seemed like constantly to encourage the parents, yes, please continue to send her, please continue to send her. So there was a lot of time spent trying to convince the parents to have their children stay. And it had nothing to do with the program or the teachers, and we'll get to that in a moment. The format, we provided transportation to and from school. We had breakfast and lunch for the students. Morning meeting was based around Response to Classroom and the Second Steps program. And this was an important part of the day, that they had an opportunity to gather in a circle and share and become a team and talk about behaviors and really work together. So that was a very important focus. And I think the greatest thing that the kids took away from the program. Then, of course, there was a focus on ELA. We piloted the eSparks program, which was the students were able to take an iPad home, work on reading, some writing, and they were tested. They could also make a video afterwards. So that was part of the program, and Katie Regan was a big part of that as well. We had science experiments, math instruction, and on Fridays, they had swim lessons at the Jordan Pool. Yeah, so it's a great program, outstanding. The parent component is that we had the social worker available on request if needed, if the parents needed support, or if I suggested, I offered it. Our outcome, anticipated outcome, our goal was to negate the 1 to 2 level drop in the students' reading level, and to negate the loss in students' back fluency. Our data shows that, first of all, we used Fountas and Pinnell benchmark assessments and the STAR assessments for ELA. Math, the assessment that we used was the STAR math, and that was a little bit limited because we did not have the data from the STAR math in the previous year. So it was a little bit limited in regards to whether the students made growth or not. And so the outcomes. If we take a look at the Fountas and Pinnell, and if you're not familiar with that, please, at the end, I'll be more than happy to describe both of these. The Fountas and Pinnell, we had the 23 students. The number of students that made gains was 16, and the number of students that regressed was 7. So looking at that, that was a positive. We
Were those 7, any of the ones that dropped off?
No, that's a good question, though. Yeah, no, it wasn't. But as you can see, the 16 was increased 1 or more levels in the same level, the beginning and end. They were steady. They didn't. So it was 8 and 8. And decrease 1 level, there were 3 students, and decrease 2 levels was 4. We didn't have any students decrease more than 2 levels. We did have 2 students increase 3 levels. So that was a big plus. As far as the STAR results, that is where it wasn't where we wanted it to be. Because you can see that according to the STAR, 11 students increased from June to September, where 12 students decreased from their scores from June to September. So that wasn't where we wanted them to be. And we unfortunately got similar results with the STAR math. If we take a look at the academics, you can see that it is conflicting, and the math results were a bit limiting. The biggest results we got reported from the students, because we surveyed the teachers, the students, the parents, all that were involved. And the biggest component that came out was that they felt more comfortable, that the students felt more comfortable coming back to school, and they felt that they were more a part of a group, and it wasn't just them. And the teachers as well felt a positive growth in the area of the social, emotional for the students and their behaviors. And when those students came back this year, some of them would have challenges. And when it started the year and they had challenges as far as their behavior, it seemed to be an easier fix, because I was able to say, well, is this what you concentrated on this summer? And let's talk about the strategies you worked on over the summer. And that seemed to help. And they also had the connection with Mike and Carolyn and had them in the building as go-to people. So that was a plus. Unfortunately, when we surveyed the students and the parents, some of the responses were it was just too hard to get them there. That was our biggest challenge this year, was the commitment. the fact that we invited 34 students, 33 students, and 24 said they would, 23 made it through the whole program, but there was a lot of time and effort spent on me trying to convince people that this is a great program, and it is a great program. It's an excellent program. But that was our biggest challenge, and is to get the commitment to, yes, we're going to do this, and yes, we're going to be a part of it. And I honestly don't know how to fix that, because summer is a hard time, and to have that commitment. So, that was the biggest obstacle. So the goal for the next year is that to just put it on hold for now, so that we can re-examine, take a look at what would benefit the students most, how we can reach more children. I would like to research what other schools are doing, just to have that opportunity to, okay, let's just hold on for a moment. So that's the recommendation.
One question I have off the bat, I know we picked like what we considered the most at-risk children for regressing. Do you have any idea of how the regression for this population compares to the overall? Like, have they done a STAR assessment, a Pinnell assessment of all the other kids that were in the same grade to see what their
That's a good
regression
question.
was?
Overall, yes, I did. Can I remember the results off the top of my head? No, I'm so sorry, I cannot. But if you give me a moment, I will see if I can.
Okay. I mean,
I can
even
get
if
there.
it wasn't
I don't want
specific
to
to
guess
you,
and then have it.
yeah, I mean, do you know just in generalities how it compared, or not off the top of your head?
My gut feeling is telling me that these children regressed more than the average.
And it's probably just because the population was specifically selected.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I can get you that exact data if you would like it.
It'd be good to look at it, I guess.
Yeah.
So Ellen, you plan on researching other school districts to see
Yeah.
what they do?
I'm curious, yeah.
Younger grade levels possibly, or?
I thought of that as well, for the younger kids, well, maybe they don't really know about this thing called summer. And that, school is fun, yeah, they do love to go to
Or
school.
maybe a shorter period of time, or maybe 3 days a week, or I don't know, different.
Right, just different scenarios. Because I thought about that as well, maybe the time, the week. If, speaking from a literacy background, it is best to get them Monday through Friday. Maybe the weeks could be shorter, but it should be every day. So that is what I'm looking at. But I would like to see, I have done a little research, not as extensively as I would like, looking at children going into third grade. Because once the child gets into third grade, having them repeat, having them in receiving services, it doesn't have a strong impact on them. The younger they are, the better. So, but of course, the younger they are, the harder. They're still little to be coming to summer school. So it's tough. And also, we talked about in the mornings, what if they came early and all that. So, and I know that has been done in the past, and I wanted to see the results and compare to what we have here. So, right now, I would like to just have it on hold until I can do a little bit more research, see how we can reach the children, and have it be valued, what our efforts, because what I saw the teachers doing in that classroom, it was phenomenal. And the students, of course, I'm not speaking for all the students, but they were engaged. And while they were there, they loved it. It was just getting them there. That was the challenge.
Yeah, we ran this in August, it was August, right? For how many weeks total?
It's 4. It's the last week of July.
First 3 of August.
Yeah.
It is a really excellent program. My son participated. We have great
Yeah, I mean, what we don't know is what the regression would have been without the program, you know, for these students.
Sure.
So it could have been successful, we just don't have a benchmark to compare it against.
There's no control.
Yeah, there is,
Yeah, there is.
you know, that's the thing, so. So
I think our biggest frustration, and I don't mean to speak for Yale, but Alan called me and said, Janice, I'm having trouble. They don't have receipts. And I was like, why? There's just this reluctance to ask a child, and I'm wondering of any age, to come to school during the summer. It's just such a paradigm shift for people that regardless of all the perks that we thought we had built into the program, not to mention starting the year just that much more strong socially, emotionally, and academically was not the draw that we thought it would be. It really took a personal connection with families to get them to come.
Yeah, instead of promoting it as summer school, I think maybe we could just call it summer camp. Because that's how I kind of sold it. Yeah.
we need a big parachute.
Camp.
Yeah, because all kids go to camp daily.
Yeah.
And they probably do some learning, but not as much and as structured and as well organized as this program, but they go, so.
Well, one of the ideas that we batted around when we first came up with great kids was to call it Camp Cranium.
You know, and it could be, you know, we have the same kind of thing with pre-K, we try to open up more slots, but without having it all day, sometimes parents can't deal with getting out of work for a half day and dealing with the other half, so,
The daycare.
you know, maybe it's, you know, the long schedule, or we, you know, do something in conjunction with the Y program to fill the whole day so that they can, you know, participate, but I'm sure you'll handle it.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Yes, I look forward to figuring it out.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yes.
Ellen. Thank you to both of the teachers as well.
Yes.
Thank you, great job.
Wasn't for Mr. Ritchie, Nick might not be at college right now, so. All right, next up, we have a discussion on the STLE grant. Janice and Jim are gonna talk about that. I don't know if you're not shooting anything out, but you can just get some information for us. And there was information in the packet that was sent out, if you guys have that.
Yeah, as you know, we received the STILE grant. It's a teacher and administrator leadership grant for, I believe it's $188,000 over the next 2 years. We're very pleased to receive that. And this grant is exclusively for the development of leadership in teachers and in your administrators. There are some requirements. The most predominant one is to be at least in the effective range of the APPR to be eligible to participate in the program. And it's designed exclusively to provide opportunities for teachers and principals in the realm of staff development in a way that typically schools would not be able to support. And so that's why for this first year you see 10 slots for national conferences. The first one is for the teachers of mathematics cutting to the Common Core. And that will be from February 13th to the 17th. And we have the International Reading Association's conference from May 8th to the 12th, scheduled for this year. Some of the perks for the teachers and for the school districts is that some teachers will be given an iPad and an Apple TV as part of, if they're selected to go. Cool. Obviously, that's kind of nice. There's a stipend per day for teachers that are selected to go. Some teachers will be able to participate in graduate coursework at SU, at no cost to them. So it's a great opportunity for teachers, and Janice and I will be putting together an application process. We already have a committee already established to select folks that will be able to go to these and bring back that knowledge. And I think particularly in the area of teacher leadership, it's an area where we're going to need more teachers to assist administration, particularly in the demands of the new APPR. I I would like to see, maybe 2 teachers per building that we're able to do evaluations, whether we pull from, current teachers that are going to retire soon, or we do it with veteran teachers while they're still working. But I think that's certainly an area where we need to see some growth and some leadership, as well as leadership in curriculum design and development that comes from the teacher ranks themselves. So it's exciting to be able to offer these opportunities to our staff. And Jordan Elders is one of 3 in this area that was awarded that grants. We're excited about it. We had to change it already. We had to make some modifications to it because the grant awards came out late. So some of the conferences that we initially were going to send teachers to, it was too late to sign people up for. So we're going to already have to make amendments to this grant. So it's going to be fluid. It's going to change a little bit. And what we'll do is when we get it more solidified, we'll get some information out to the board and to the public and the board packet as to exactly what we're going to be supporting with the grant.
How many novice teachers apply or on the run? There are 3 runs. How many professional teachers and how many teacher leader applicants. And then we can select 6 for the professional teacher run, which is the 2nd level, 6 for the teacher leader, which is the 3rd level. And everything will be funded through the grant. The grant does pay for the substitutes. So there really is no cost to the district other than time on task in the sense that nobody replaces the actual classroom teacher.
Yeah.
The 2nd year, we outlined just year 1 for you, but the 2nd year, the grant does pay for the 3rd rung group, the teacher leaders, to receive training on using the NICET rubric to do evidence-based collection to support the walkthroughs and formal observations in OASIS.
So there's some amount allocated to bringing guest speakers here, is that
That's
what I
correct.
understand? That, so do you guys have an idea of types of people or anybody that you're thinking about already to bring in at this point, or not yet?
We talked about it at the last administrative team meeting, and the principals are going to be talking to their faculties about it. One of the requests that we've already had is someone who would be considered an expert, if you will, in the area of Common Core math. And there are some people that are going to a workshop on the Singapore model,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm interested in their feedback about that particular speaker because it might be worthwhile to have that individual come. I know when Greg Tang came and spoke a couple of years ago at the Cayuga Onondaga BOCES, much of what he had to say was in alignment with this new methodology, and so he might be someone.
Okay.
Yeah,
If
we also,
you hear people or know of people that you too feel
Yep.
would be worthy, please let us know.
yeah, and in the area of speakers, we also talked about stretching this out so that students could take advantage of it as well, and bringing a national speaker, say if the subject's bullying or something that's more of a broad-based topic, that we could bring the speaker in for the students as well as the teacher, all the teachers, and even have some evening presentations as well for the communities. It's kind of exciting what we'll be doing.
It is exciting.
Right.
Thank you for taking the time to do that.
Yep.
Quick question. When you mentioned the Singapore model, I'm assuming that's the Singapore that has scored so well on the international tests.
I believe so.
I just became aware of, as I'm looking at the international test scores, and there are just 2 international agencies that do these assessments. One was that Singapore was not necessarily a mixed population.
No,
It was very, very affluent
They
and
sort.
very, and there are people that are concerned about getting the #1 ranking internationally. It's kind of skewed because of the demographic.
Correct, it's not a heterogeneous group.
And the other thing that I was really surprised at recently, there was the result, and I can't get my acronyms straight. There's TIPS and BIPS and BOOPS and all that other stuff. But apparently the most recent analysis of the international tests places the United States not so low as it has been talked
And
about.
yes, we did much better most recently.
Yes, we've made it to average.
Which, you know that I am not 100% sold. But I know that one of the big arguments is that we were so poor in terms of the international competition, when in fact, you know, you've got to dig for this information. You're not being told that by the folks that are just in love. In fact, the commissioner, who's not been having such a real cheery time reporting the study, I was just blown away when he said that he was so pleased with the consensus that has emerged on Common Core. He must be, his genealogy must come across with Kathleen Savilas' in terms of assessing. Because I think that wherever you are, there are definitely some controversies. But when you mentioned that, it kind of made me think that, hey, you know, be careful what we all need to be careful what we hear, because it's not always black and white.
Talk about that group, it's interesting, I just read recently, if you take US students that score 3 or better, the AP Physics exam, they're number 1 in the world. Students that score 4 or 5 on the AP Physics exam rank 10th in the world, so you know, it's interesting. You do have to choose that demographic issue as well.
Yeah, so we'll be interested in this going forward. Yeah, and it was just us in Syracuse and North Syracuse in this area that got the grant, so.
It's exciting for our staff.
Yeah.
I think so.
I hope so.
All right, if there's no further, we will move on to public comments. We have 2 speakers. First one is Fred Weiskopf. Hi, Fred.
Good evening, everyone.
Okay.
The reason I'm speaking to you tonight is because of the tabled motion 195-14 that addressed having an OSC audit from July 1st, 2010 to June 30th, 2013. After your September 25th special meeting, Ken Bush, Dick Platten, Hank Dorr, and myself sat down and we talked about the finances of the Jordan Elbridge Central School District and how they are affecting our community. We'd like the board to approve that motion to ask for the audit. The board vote, excuse me, if the board votes not to pursue this issue or keeps it tabled, the 4 of us have composed a letter with added documentation, and we will pursue it ourselves. I'd like to read the letter that we are sending to Ms. Wilcox, Chief Examiner of the OSC down in Syracuse. Dear Ms. Wilcox, the finances of the Jordan Elbridge Central Schools District over the last 3 fiscal years are cause for great concern and warrant an investigation. First, external audit reports, and you just had one, cite material weaknesses and many significant deficiencies, which is 180 degrees from the previous year's reports. Not one detailed budget to actual report was produced during that time, and you just started to do those, which is a statutory requirement for a school district treasurer's report. Number 3, financial mismanagement at this level goes well beyond the civil service grade of a school district treasurer that was recently fired. Yet no one else is being held accountable for that. Millions of tax dollars have been spent on legal, auditing, accounting, private investigations, interim employees, and more without justification to the public. And we believe without proper authorization or accounting. Motion was made that same night by Paul Fry and seconded by Dr. Geralman to table that resolution, 195.14-14. And that motion was carried 6-0. The reason given for not following through was that the OSC did not look hard enough last time, which is odd since it's our understanding that your office committed resources to at the Jordan Elbridge for well over a year. Given the gravity of the situation and the financial impact on our community, it is our fiducial responsibility as elected officials and longstanding citizens in the community to sincerely request that an audit be conducted. To this end, we ask to meet with you to discuss the best way to proceed and what specifically should be audited. Ken Bush Jr. will be contacting you, your office, to confirm a meeting. Thank you for your attention in this matter. Ken Bush has signed it, Mayor Platten has signed it, Mayor Dorr has signed it, and I have signed it. And we've dated it tomorrow. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. Next up, we have Anthony Strong.
Good evening. I'm speaking about resolution number 243.14, the appointing of school district treasurer. Off the Onondaga County website, which is available to everyone, the distinguishing features of the school district treasurer. It specifically says, I'm not going to read word for word all this stuff, but this position is responsible work calling for carrying out an established clerical routine. Illustrative examples of work: receives money from collector and makes deposits, draws checks, discusses accounting and financial problems with superiors, files posting media and miscellaneous accounting documents, prepares reports and statements concerning district finances, performs a wide variety of clerical account-keeping tasks. The minimum qualifications for the position is graduation from a standard senior high school and 3 years of general business experience, of which 1 shall involve keeping or auditing financial records, or it could be any equivalent combination of the above. What is pointed out here is that this is what the civil service department says at the New York State level, at the Onondaga County level. These are the duties of the school district treasurer of that title. And that title is in the clerical class of titles that they have. If anyone's looked at Onondaga County Personnel's website, you'll see things are sorted by categories. Are they administrative? Are they clerical? Are they higher level accounting positions? Whatever. The school district treasurer position, by its nature, according to civil service rules, is a clerical position. And what civil service allows, with no problems, is that if you want that position to do things that are below that level clerically, like if you wanted this person to say, it doesn't specifically say, but we're going to give you typing duties also. There's no problem with it because it's something lower than the classification. But what seems distressing that the board should have picked up on, or maybe they already have, is that in the contract for the school district treasurer, one of the main sentences in it is the duties include something like the monitoring and watching overseeing the adopted budget and the subsequent analysis of the budget to the actual accounts. It's somewhere in the, I don't know what the exact wording is, do you have that in front of you. And that is something that is definitely not in the clerical titles. So what I'm getting at here is that if you're going to appoint someone to school district treasurer, it cannot have a job description that says one of its major functions is something that is over and above, outside the category of what civil service says as a school district treasurer. There's nothing that says you can't hire this person as a contractor if you wanted to, but you do not call them a civil service employee if they're going to be doing duties outside the title. So I'm just making that aware. So before the voting takes place, everybody is aware. If someone knows for a fact that there is no problem in doing this, make sure they know 100%. I say before they vote yes, I'm approving this resolution as it is. It may want to be pulled for further research. So clarification is made if that title is the legitimate title for something like this. And one of the reasons I know this also is I was the fiscal officer accountant for the Onondaga County Parks Department at one point for 4 years. And in my job description, it included you will monitor budgets, budget and actuals, and keep track of all that stuff. So I know that that is the accounting level, which is a different classification than school district treasurer. So again, there's something wrong with having a school district treasurer, but they need to follow the duties that are listed or lower duties. Thank you.
Do we have any written questions that came in? Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to the approval of minutes then. The first motion is to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held October 16, 2013. May I have a motion for those minutes? Lisa, and a second?
Second.
Second for Lynette. Any discussion of those minutes? Okay, I'd like to call for the vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion carried 5-0 with 0 abstentions. The next motion is to approve the minutes of the special meeting held October 23rd, 2013. May I have a motion for those minutes? Lynette, in a second. Second. Thank you, sir. Get you home before we meet tonight. Any discussion on the October 23rd minutes? I'd like to call for the vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion carried 5-0, 0 abstentions. Okay, on the consent agenda, we did move 24114 out, but for the remaining portion of the consent agenda, may I have a motion, please? Lynette, in a second.
Second.
Second, Lisa. Discussion on other items on the consent agenda? Okay, if there's no further discussion, then I'd like to call for the vote on the consent agenda. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion carried 5-0, 0 abstentions. Okay, the next item will be the item we just moved out for board action. This is item 24114. Superintendent of Schools recommends that the Board of Education of the Jordan Elbert Central School District accept an anonymous donation of $55.38 for the general fund exclusively for arts and education. May I have a motion on 24114, please?
So moved.
Lisa, in a second.
Second.
Second, Lynette. Okay, discussion on this item? Nice, we can have some discussion on this item.
Over the years, I have been with organizations and agencies where anonymous gifts have been given, and there have been some that were accepted and there were some that were not accepted. And I know that there are pros and cons for both. Is anyone on the board or in management aware of any laws and/or policies
Well, this
regarding
is-
acceptance?
Okay, this is not anonymous to us, it's only anonymous to the public. I mean, it was in your packet as to who it's
I
from.
was trying to honor the,
I understand, I'm not saying who it is, but I'm saying, you know,
and that precisely is my concern.
right. to your point, it's a public information issue.
Could be foiled. But do we know anything about the law regarding the acceptance of anonymous gifts? Municipal law, commissioners, regulations, are there? I've not had the time.
Yeah, I couldn't tell offhand. I mean, I know that this is an annual thing that we've received.
I feel
as a
terrible about having
organization.
raising this, and I've been
Right.
having terrible raising a couple of other things later in the mayor, but I feel I have to raise those because I want to make sure that we protect everyone concerned.
Right.
You let the cat out of the bag that it was anonymous to the board.
Right.
I wasn't totally comfortable. There was a trigger that said to me, okay, I need to ask questions about this.
Okay.
I am not opposed to, arts and education very much.
I understand the legal question on
There
it.
was one sentence that really concerned me. Yes. And I don't want to be hard-nosed, but if it were to be foiled and someone saw that, I think there might be some questions there, but related to, if I had my druthers, I would ask to get that clarified and perhaps word it differently.
I mean,
I want to honor all parties here.
I don't have a problem with it if it's not urgent that we get it into the fund, so we could table it and
Just want to make sure
check
that
into
all
it.
parties to
Sure.
it would be anonymous.
Right.
All good intentions sometimes backfire. And I just think it would be good to take a second look at this and make sure that all I's are dotted and T's crossed. That's all I'm asking for, but I realize I'm one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hadn't thought of it in those terms, because there is traceability, from the board's perspective as to where it came from, but yeah, I think that it's worth looking into. So let's see.
And I'm one that never likes to turn down money. I'd like to see it.
And I'm hoping that's what would happen. But if you want, you can motion to table and we can look at it between now and our next meeting. Okay, so we have a motion to table from Glenn. Do we have a second to table 24114? Second from Lynette. Catch up here. Okay, all in favor of tabling 24114 to look into the issue Glenn raised? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Okay, motion carried for tabling, 5-0 with 0 abstentions. We'll check into this and then we can put it on the next meeting agenda. Yep. Yep, no problem. Got all that? All right, thank you. Okay, next item for board action is motion, is item, 24314. Be it resolved upon recommendation of the superintendent of the schools that the Board of Education of Jordan Albert Central School District, in accordance with the resolution adopted by this board on August 13, 2001, entitled Resolution Relative to Conditional Employment of Respective Employees pending full compliance with the fingerprinting provisions of Project SAVE, and subject to the applicable civil service law and rules, the Board of Education hereby appoints Roxanne Miller to the position of School District Treasurer in the exempt civil service position with a salary of $70,000 per year, prorated over actual time worked, in the non-represented group with a 52-week probationary employment beginning November 30th, 2013. This position is classified as confidential. May I have a motion for 24314, please?
So moved.
Please, and a second.
Second.
Second from Lynette. Discussion on this item.
I'm very excited about recommending Roxanne Miller. She's had almost 15 years' experience as district treasurer in the Fulton City School District. She has a vast experience in all aspects of school finance. She came in last week to fill out some paperwork and spent 3 hours of her own time with Tom Strain, who was extremely impressed with her knowledge, and basically said she's not going to need me when she walks through the door. She's, not just a treasurer, but she has civil service certification as a business official. I did research the role of the district treasurer, and the district treasurer role can be expanded. I had BS&K researched that extensively over a year ago. You certainly can expand the role of the district treasurer. Many school districts do, including Fulton City. I think that we're very fortunate to find somebody of her caliber to come work here. I'm extremely excited about making a recommendation for her employment here.
Other comments?
Yes, Roxanne was awesome. When we interviewed, there was like no question between people. Do we need to up her civil service title from treasurer, or do you think you've checked it out with civil service?
You can't, it's an exempt position, so, you can put anyone into the position that you want to put into the position as long as they meet the minimum requirements for it. Last year, I researched it extensively with the attorneys, and as long as you have your checks and balances in place, district treasurer can function in the capacity beyond that of something that's just clerical. And in fact, I think if you took a look at school districts throughout the state right now, you'd see many of them are doing just that.
Other comments?
As I said earlier, there were a couple of motions, there were three motions, resolutions that I'm going to be commenting on, and I really wish I had come down with the flu and didn't have to
You don't want the food.
raise them. And maybe I do. Number one, I want to ask, is there a position description for this position?
There is, there's a board policy, I want to say 1332, but I might be wrong on the number, that spells out the duties of the treasurer.
It is 1332, duties of the school district treasurer.
Is that a position description?
Is that, say that
Is
again?
that a full-blown position description? I thought we had policy, we also said that we had that position description on
Right.
every employee.
I personally think it can be beefed up, I think we should do that.
I think so too.
It does give it a high level, what the duties and responsibilities are.
Okay, I would hope that we would.
Yeah, I think,
format and have a,
yeah,
you
I
know,
think we should have a regular job description.
Very intimately tied to any kind of performance evaluations or the position description. That's the starting point, that's the ending point. So if things need to be modified, it's modified at the point of evaluation or at the
Yeah.
point of bringing someone in new. That was the easy part.
Yeah, I don't disagree with it,
I agree with Glenn, with the description.
a more complete.
It just really is essential. So that at the time of the evaluation, there aren't any surprises.
I
The training, because we should be talked about on an ongoing basis, and
Yeah.
the evaluation should just be confirmation of what everybody knew, good, bad, or the other.
Agreed.
Now for the not so comfortable part, I was a part of the interview team before this interview. This individual, and Ms. Miller was an outstanding candidate. No doubt in my mind that she could do the position. I was the one who made the motion that was referred to tonight. I was going to try to minimize my conversations because I really have been out of things. I had a family member have a serious eye injury, but things are on the mend. But you all know when I weighed in how I felt about
Yeah.
this. And we have an ad hoc committee that has not yet started hockey.
Right, right.
I have made contact with Cornell University, and there were two people that this individual in contact. We've not gotten back together because my family, one of them, I took unilateral action in moving him to the job because he said, where Tim's going to do this job. And I said, no, I don't think that he would do a know that this particular candidate, who I do believe is an excellent candidate, and this may be out of order, but I'm going to apologize to you in terms of how I'm going to vote. But in light of the fact that we've got some issues on the table regarding past finances and organization, I have to raise those issues. And sometimes those conflicted thoughts have to be reconciled. And I've thought about this ever since we began the conversation. I respect your opinions, and I hope that you take mine into consideration, and you understand what I'm saying and doing what you accept it. I hope you see that there's some thought that goes into that.
So what are you looking to see happen before you're good with voting yes on this? Checking out how the business
I'd like
office
to
is
have a
run?
time machine where we can go back and we can go forward. At the same time, we don't have that ability. I felt like what's the consequences of the vote? I know that I'm in the minority, and I accept that. I also know that I have an obligation to speak out, and I accept that role. I was not a member of the board when the decision was made on January the 16th or 17th of this year to increase the salary of the former treasurer. I was on that side, and I opposed it, and I opposed the reorganization, and I stated the reasons. There was one board member that also stated that. I think we're caught in an awkward situation because a very talented individual, but and someone scream if I'm talking, I'm sharing something. I think the public knows that there's another lawsuit complaint that has been filed, and someone could be reinstated. So then what are we going to have? We're going to have a treasurer with increased responsibilities and perhaps an assistant superintendent with those responsibilities. Not having, I don't see anything in that policy that is the current framework for position description that talks about the types of things that assistant superintendents will be responsible for, such as cost analysis, those visionary type things. I'm going to leave it at that. This is an awkward situation for me, and I'm feeling pain as I make that. But I feel I have to bring this up.
I appreciate it. I do want to talk just a little bit about the process. So, as Glenn mentioned, this is a position that the board is responsible for putting in place, as far as the treasurer actually putting to the board. We did go out and do a canvass for candidates. We received several candidates. We down selected that to 3 finalists that we did interview. Roxanne kind of came out of the top of the list. The full board got to do the interview. There was no pre-screening of candidates by anybody in the administration. So everybody got to see everybody's submissions and went through the process and arrived at selecting Roxanne. So this is the first time that the board has been able to do that, at least since I've been here. I don't know how that's been done in the past, but I think that's the process that it should be going forward whenever we deal with a board position. Such as treasurer. The clerk would be the other one, and that's kind of a mixed one because it's partially a secretary to the superintendent and partially a clerk position. And it would be very hard to divide those just because the interaction there. But I think the process went well, and I appreciate everybody's input in what we did to get to this point. I understand that, we don't know what lawsuits can change, but what we have to do, at least in my mind, is go with what we think is best for the district at this point in time, and we have to deal with contingencies, and we talked about, we have to do contingency planning. And we'll look at that. I think the ad hoc committee is still a viable thing that we have to go through. But this year, the budget supports this position, and we have a good, 7-8 months to see how things go under that. At the same time, we have the committee going. I think it'll be great to have a person appointed in this position be part of that, so they can give their input as far as how they see the responsibilities. You know, maybe it's not a full-time member of the committee, but some input from the people who are into the role definitely would be useful. Same thing with other folks in the business office as well. So I think it's still an exercise we definitely have to go through. And you know, I don't know what the final outcome of that will be, but I think that putting Roxanne in the position is going to put our district in much stronger footing as far as having our hands on what's going on financially. So I'm glad the process that we went through, and I'm glad we found several qualified candidates to select from, and I'm very pleased with the one that we've down selected to. And that's what I have to say about that.
I think the other thing that's great about this is that, you know, Roxanne is a certified business official, so, you know, let's say the committee looks at this and says, you know, you've cut too much, you need to, you know, your current administrative staff is doing too much, you know, her role can be expanded, you know, to supervise individuals and you know, and without hiring additional people. And, you know, I'll never step back from my position on the organization, and we're saving, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in administrative positions. And you're not going to convince me we need more people in the business office. We need great quality people, and this would be, you know, this is what the school district needs, and it's the one piece missing right now. So I'm very excited about it. I hope she gets supported tonight.
Any other discussion?
I cannot respond to that, and this is not adversarial, it's something. I never walked into a position where I said, I'm gonna hold my ground and never change my mind, number one. Number two, I never built a position around a person, I built it around the needs of whatever office or department, division was needed. Three, again, this is awkward. You know, this is saying, I've said enough. I've spoken my piece, but I am in disagreement with you.
I have one question. BSNK wrote and looked over the contract and Bruno.
Yes.
Okay, I would like to ask that question. Okay, thank you.
I had a question on the health insurance part. Is that a normal part of the contract about when she retires?
Yes, it's in line with the administrative of the contract.
But is she administrative as far as the other clerical or
No,
the other?
the benefits is in line with what she's currently, actually some of it wasn't as good as what she's currently receiving.
Right. So this, the health insurance for retiring, that's something normally that's in a contract for like principals? Or?
Yes. Although all the, I don't think there's any unit members that we have that don't get health benefits into retirement. We just added bus drivers most recently, so now they all get health benefits in retirement.
But do you continue to pay the same percentage of the insurance?
Yes, for
When
all,
they leave?
it's all the same for everybody.
Sign it up.
Not a bad thing.
I'm gonna apply for treasurer.
If there's no further discussion on 243-14, I'd like to call for the vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay?
Any abstained? Motion
Carries.
carried.
Vote is not be cast.
I'm sorry. Pat didn't vote either. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I'm still arguing with myself. We need a treasurer. I don't want to lose Roxanne. The outstanding, legal things that take forever. We can't wait forever to have a treasurer. Sure, as long as you are positive the civil service title is covering this, as treasurer.
have to have a treasurer now, so I guess I'll say yes.
Thank you. All right, so I have 4 yes votes, 1 no vote, and 0 abstentions, with a vote of 4 to 1 and quorum carried. Congratulations, Roxanne. And thank you for everybody's input. It's a serious decision, and I'm glad everybody contemplated it. All right, item 24414 is to approve an increase in stipend for district clerk position from $4,500 to $5,500 retroactive to July 1st, 2013. May I have a motion for 24414?
So,
Lisa, and a second from Pat. Discussion on this item? Okay, you say.
And this is the final resolution that
Okay.
gives me the real, I had a hard time for years when I started this week. I wish we could have had some more conversation about this, because I know that Mr. Foyer had done some research and sent it to the board on August 28th.
I don't know the date. I don't remember the date, but yeah, we did get that, yeah.
And Bernadette, I have come to appreciate her friendliness, her courteous, her quick, rapid response. I value her. And yet I have to say the following things. There were 7 or 8 schools that we polled that we got information from. And the district salary, or the district clerk's salary, there was only one that would be above this if the increase is approved. And that was for a person who had worked in that position for, I believe, 29 years. A person making $4,500 as district clerk who's worked for 11 years. And I thought I had perfect attendance, but I must have missed a meeting when there was a discussion about making this retro.
There was no additional meetings, so we can discuss it.
I thought I was here.
Yeah, we can discuss it, yeah.
So,
I mean, a stipend is over a year period, so it's not really a retro per se, you know, you get,
it's pretty good.
it's not like a salary per hour kind of thing. A stipend is a fixed amount for a year
you're
period.
talking about coming up on half a year of being done.
Right, I understand that. But a stipend is like I see your point, but it's not like an hourly rate, I guess is what I'm saying.
I've shared my concerns, and I hope, Bernadette, you understand that I do value the role that you play in the district.
Thank you.
I'm having difficulty with the process, I'm having difficulty reconciling this with some of the reality out there. And I know I talk about the Rick Tim thing, but boy, 3 years ago, in May, we were going bankrupt. And now it's nothing to jump salaries and make them retro. Where's it all coming from? I don't know. So, I've spoken with these.
Were we given the results of you polled other schools?
Yeah, I sent it to you.
Okay, I remember you saying that it was in the ballpark.
Yeah, and most of these, it's also interesting because most of them are also a combination position, so to look at the stipend on its own is not always the cleanest way to look at it, because usually it's a combination of salary, benefits, and stipend.
And some of their salaries were much higher than,
Oh, yeah.
right. So it is hard to compare.
If you just look at stipends, it would be on the high side, but if you look at the combination of packages, I don't think it's out of range. It's not the lowest, it's not the highest, it's probably in the middle range, but,
May I speak again?
sure.
I understand what you're saying, and I would like to have the opportunity to read the research that was provided to us, because Pat, I don't know whether you remember, I think that
When was it given to us?
I didn't copy the email. I
Okay.
believe it was August
Shortly after.
29th. It was little risky, not risky, you know, it's not, doesn't make sense to me to say, well, the salary's low, so the stipend, because it's two different things. Next year, where that may not be. I mean, district clerk,
Clerk, right.
if there's a salary issue, we deal with the salary. So if there's a district clerk issue, the two are not related,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned. Okay, Auburn, the board clerk has a stipend of $4,500 and in the position for 3 years. So they have a deputy board clerk who's been in that position for 22 years with a stipend of $4,300. Kiva BOCES, person in the position for 1 year has a stipend of $3,050. Jordan Elbridge stipend is $4,500, Moravia $6,890, but that position, that person's been in the position for 29 years. Port Byron has a stipend of $4,869, been in the position for 21 years. Ski Atlas didn't respond, Cato Meridian didn't respond, Southern Cuba didn't respond, Union Springs has no stipend. Weedsport, for a person in a position for 11 years, the stipend is $3,486. I'm sorry that I had to raise those.
No, that's
issues, but I think everyone, to include the public, needs to know why we make decisions the way we make decisions.
So Auburn pays $8,800 a clerk.
What's that?
Auburn pays $8,800 a clerk stipend.
It looks like that. I don't know if they have, I don't have a work.
Okay. Does that help you, Pat?
Yeah.
I know the other thing is, the reality of ours is that the job is both. Our secretary is superintendent and our board clerk, and they intermingle quite a bit.
Right.
So, that's,
But you know,
I understand where Glenn is coming from, but the reality of our situation is it's a combined position.
And if you were to separate them, you'd have to pay a much larger stipend for a clerk to do all the hours, and coordinate the things that they do. If it was a separate person, I think in most cases you'll see them the same.
And we thought about that in the past when Eva had left. We had thought about, what if we can't get the secretary to be the district clerk? And it would have been more expensive than what's in front of us. Another thing that we do need to think about is our board meetings tend to be quite lengthy. And our district clerk is here with us. So if we paid per hour, I'm sure we would far exceed this amount in front of us, hourly pay. Hopefully that will change, but I said that a few years ago, and we're still in the same boat with having meetings very late, and she is here sitting with us. So that's just one thing we need to think about.
Other discussion? Okay, I'd like to call for the vote then on 244-14. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Yeah, did you vote? Okay. You said aye. Thank you. With a vote of 4-1, 4 abstentions, motion carried. Congratulations. Okay, next up is item 245-14. This is appointing a person in the position of typist 1 with an hourly rate of $11.76, which is prorated over actual time, beginning November 7th, 2013, which is tomorrow. May I have a motion for 245-14? And a second. Second, Lynn. A little quicker in the drill. Discussion on this item? Yeah, we call for the vote then. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion carried 5-0 with 0 abstentions. Item 246-14 is to appoint a person as a position of bus driver. Again, this is at a rate of $21.17, prorated over actual time worked, beginning November 7th, 2013. May I have a motion for 246-14? And a second.
Second?
Second, Lisa. Any discussion on 24614? All right, if there's no discussion, I'd like to call for the vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion carried 5-0, 0 abstentions. How we doing on our bus driver ratio? Are we getting up there? All right, very good.
Much better.
Good to hear. All right, item 24714 is to appoint a position, the position of bus driver, again, at an hourly rate of $21.17, prorated over actual time, beginning November 12th. May I have a motion for 24714? Lynette, and a second? Second from Pat. Any discussion on this item? I'd like to call for the vote then. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion carried 5-0, 0 abstentions. Item 24814 is to appoint the following mentors and mentees as indicated below for the 2013-2014 school year. It's to be prorated over actual time worked in accordance with the JETA agreement. I have a motion for 24814.
So moved.
Lisa, and a second?
Second.
Second from Pitt. Discussion on this item, or maybe Jim, you can just fill us in a little about how this was working?
First off, the funding for this is paid out of I believe it's the mentor grant. Which grant is it? General fund grant?
General fund.
Not that, right?
I thought it was hitting a grant.
It's part of what we indicated the sustainability piece to the SDLE grant is the district paying this piece.
Sorry, we're paying for this.
And we have been paying for this right along.
Yeah, this is not new, but it's in support, it's one of the supporting pieces for getting the
It was, yes indeed.
And it's important for us.
Yes.
I have a couple questions. Are all of the teachers that are going to be mentors in the same content area or certification area?
You mean mentor and mentee?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes, they are in the same certification area.
okay. I wasn't sure of a couple, that's why I just wanted to make sure.
Natalie and Amanda have the largest stretch.
Nope, that's not one. We have a math teacher with the last name, correct?
Megan Lula? Yeah, that's her.
Art,
But there was no one who applied.
so she's the only fit.
So the next best certification is they're both at the middle school level.
Okay, so that's, I was wondering.
So
about
matching
that.
certifications, but not necessarily subject areas.
Correct.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes, 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 yes. All right, so that is why that matchup was made. I was just wondering because it seems,
Yes, there was no one who came forward if that would be a direct match for her. The
Okay.
match is at the grade level.
okay, perfect, thank you for clarifying. Is there, and I know I brought this up before, is there a meeting prior to school for the mentor and mentee to meet and talk about policies and procedures and
The
good practices and all of those types of things?
The new teachers come in and we have an orientation with them, and then they have an opportunity to spend time with their building principal. But typically that happens before school starts, and we have not been able to appoint mentors before the new year,
Yeah.
so we have not made that happen yet.
I just think it's important. I think it would be a great idea for the mentor to meet with the mentee because you get that personal connection, and the mentor can help the mentee with all of those policies, procedures, good practices, things to do, things not to do. If we can do that prior to the school year starting, similar to where the orientation, I mentioned it before, I just think it would, I just think it's just a good part of, it's a good way to start the year off for both of them. Because once the school year starts, they're rushing to do their own thing, and so sometimes there's no time. But in August, there's a little bit more time.
I mean, one way to facilitate that might be that we know by the end of the year what positions we think will be new, even if we don't know who the mentee will be yet, but we could work on getting the mentors before the end of the previous year, because I know the issue is, over the summer, you're not able to get hold of these people necessarily, but we should be able to identify who we think will be mentee areas, and then identify the mentors before, we even finish the school year out.
Yeah, we just have to have them apply do they have to apply annually? So we'd have to have them apply at the end of the
Yeah,
year.
we should do that in May or June, because we know by then
Yeah.
what positions are gonna be due, for the most part, something could come up.
And with the
unexpected.
application, make
Yeah.
sure that, it includes that the stipend includes one day in August.
Availability for the orientation.
Yeah.
Question, is the model that we use here, is that prescribed by any of the
Contracts.
contracts?
Isn't it for Jetta?
The only thing that's prescribed is that there is an advisory committee that makes the selection.
The only reason I bring it up is that we said that it would be good to have this start, from the beginning. I just think it makes tremendous sense. And I also agree that being mentored by someone in my same area is good, but in the model that I've used in a couple of other settings, albeit in higher ed, we also had times for groups to kind of
Cross-pollination,
cross-fertilize.
yeah.
And because they're, all of us encounter some of the same issues, and there can be some excellent mentor who can, establish a secondary relationship, and then, a new teacher can make that connection. So
Yeah, I don't think the method is prescribed, I mean, just, it's not prescribed, right? I mean, one thing that we are getting with Common Core and the IB stuff in middle school is there's a lot of cross-pollination that's happening anyway, just because of the way these things have to interact and intercommunicate, probably more than ever before, I would guess. So it's still good to have the formal mentor, so somebody specifically looking out for these guys. But I think some of the stuff you're talking about is happening just almost by force, you know. But it's still good to somebody that's just being a champion for this person, making sure they understand, what or how things go. And I did actually the high school open house. I got to meet some of the new teachers who have been into it a little bit now. Travis at Technology was very excited. He dragged me in and showed me his stuff. So these guys we met them at the meet and greet. They really seem to be off and running. So that's really good to see.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
We're very proud of them.
That's great.
So any further discussion? Okay, I'd like to call for the vote then on 248-14. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Okay, motion carried 5-0, 0 abstentions. All right, on 249-14, this is to appoint a couple of advisors, yearbook advisor and ski club advisor. And again, this is accordance with the JETA contract. May I have a motion for 249-14?
So moved.
And a second?
Second. Give it to Glenn.
Good. That's good. Okay, any discussion on 249-14? Okay, I'd like to call for the vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion carried 5-0, 0 abstentions. I do not have any need for executive session unless somebody else does.
No, did we ever do anything about the folders? Requesting folders?
We didn't, but we should do that with the full board is here. I know Mike and Paul are not here tonight, but.
So next time if we could put that on the
We
list.
can try to get those at the next meeting. I'll make sure I remind you. Or the next, put it on the agenda. Who wants to look at that first?
Glenn, I think,
I would like to discuss in the premise of the litigation strategies, 30-20 hearings with district versus Mr. Hamilton and Mr. Zanger, and I'd also like to discuss the litigation strategy regarding the most recent complaint, William Hamilton versus your members from the district et al.
Is this something you think with the other two would benefit from hearing, or are we gonna
I just have
rehash?
a couple of questions I want to ask about each.
So we have a motion for executive session for the purposes of discussion litigation, JE versus Zaner, JE versus Hamilton for both 30-20A, and also Hamilton versus JE, the newest lawsuit. So I have a motion from Glenn for that, and a second.
Second.
Second from Kevin. further items? Okay, I'd like to call for the vote on that motion then. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Okay, motion carried 5-0, 0 abstentions. Adjourning for executive session at 8:26. We do not expect to conduct any further visits after this, and Janice, you are invited to join us.
That's a great scene.